From Vermont is recognized for 3 minutes.
I thank my friend from Massachusetts for yielding and applaud him for all the work that he has done on affordable housing in this country. Madam Chair, today we are considering legislation that encourages members of Congress, quote, to participate in and support activities to provide decent homes for the people of the United States, end of quote. I have no problem with this legislation. It will be very nice if members of Congress work together to build a few hundred units of affordable housing. The problem is that in the United States of America today, we have a housing crisis. And we don't need a few hundred units of new housing. We need hundreds of thousands of units of new housing. And it is not acceptable for people to say, oh, isn't it good? We are volunteering our efforts. We have children sleeping out on the street all over America. We have working families working 40 hours a week, living in their cars. And members of Congress building a few hundred housing units might make for good press releases and photos in newspapers, but it does nothing to address the housing crisis in America. Mr. Speaker, while the affordable housing crisis in this country deepens, President Bush's proposed housing budget is 63% less than it was in 1976 during the last year of the Ford administration. While more than 3 million Americans will experience homelessness this year, including 1.3 million children, President Bush proposes to eliminate a $574 million a year program to revitalize public housing and recently refused to fully fund public housing operating expenses. While 4.9 million American families pay more than 50% of their limited incomes in housing, President Bush has proposed to block grant the federal Section 8 rental assistance proposal that would raise rents and jeopardize rental assistance for tens of thousands of families. While President Bush says he supports expanding homeownership, the reality is that his initiatives have not produced a single home buyer in 2.5 years. And since the president took office, housing foreclosures have increased by 39% and home loan delinquencies have increased by 26%. And last year, the Bush administration cared so much about affordable housing that they worked to defeat legislation that I introduced to provide the tools necessary to construct, rehabilitate, and preserve at least 1.5 million affordable housing rental units over the next decade through a national affordable housing trust fund. Well, we are not going to give up. Just a few months ago, I reintroduced the National Affordable Housing Trust Fund, a proposal that would not only provide real solutions to the affordable housing crisis, but would also lead to the creation of some 1.8 million new jobs and nearly $50 billion in wages. This legislation currently has 200 tripartisan co-sponsors, including 11 Republicans, and has been endorsed by over 4. Can I get another minute? Okay. I yield back.
Gentleman's time.